Okay, so today we're ranking fruits, a topic that everyone seems to be divided on. We have plenty of fruits to rank today, and the ones that I've never had before get a pass today and go into their own separate category. Alright, here we go. Starting with green apples. Apples are great, but green apples are a touch too sour for me. Still good though, so an easy B tier ranking. Next up are red apples, a classic fruit, a very delicious fruit, and one that I hold in high regard, A tier for red apples. Next are apricots, not a fruit I have often, but it does stand out. Not something I'd go out of my way to buy, but I'll eat one if it's there. Respectable B tier ranking. Next are avocados, the first controversial ranking. I simply do not like avocados. Weird taste, weird texture, weird thing in the middle, not a good fruit in any aspect, F tier for avocados. Next are bananas, one of if not the best fruit out there. Bananas are a staple fruit and truly one of the best. Just make sure the texture is good because no one loves a rock solid banana or a mushy one. Still worthy of the S tier though. Next are blackberries, not a huge fan of the taste, a mix between bitter and sweet doesn't cut it for me. D tier ranking for blackberries. Next are blueberries, a pretty simple fruit, nothing too special about them. They aren't always the best tasting depending on how ripe they are, but they pair well with most breakfast foods, so they can settle for a C tier. Next are cantaloupes, a more low-key fruit that I don't have too often, but with a very distinct sweet taste to it. Lovely to have every now and then, so a B tier ranking for them. Next are coconuts. While I've never had a real, ripe, literal coconut before, I do love the taste of coconut in sweets and drinks, so that's got to count for something. An A tier ranking for them, with the possibility of moving up one day. Next are cherries. I can snack on cherries all day long. Super tasty, just the right amount of sweetness, and the stems are pretty cool. S tier fruit right there. Next are cranberries, not my personal favorite as I find them to be too bitter, but they're alright in juice form so they can settle for the D tier. Next are dates, a very average fruit with an interesting taste but an awkward texture. I tend to overlook this fruit and maybe it deserves more recognition, but for now it's a C tier ranking for dates. Next are figs, not my favorite. I think I'd just avoid this one if it was on a fruit platter in front of me. Something about the taste just turns me off from wanting more, so it goes into the D tier. Next up is the grapefruit, one of my least favorite fruits. I can't get over the weird bitter taste, whether it's the fruit itself or in some kind of drink. F tier for this one. Next are red and white grapes. I love both equally as they're just sweet enough and you can eat a whole bag without even realizing. S tier for both types of grapes. Next are kiwi, a personal favorite. I love the way they taste and they just look cool overall. Easy S tier fruit right here. Next are lemons, a very polarizing fruit. Sometimes it works really well, other times it kills a dish or a drink. If we're talking strictly about the fruit itself, it's a bit too acidic for my taste, so it can settle for C tier. Next are limes, basically the same criteria as lemons, but with a less intense flavor. Makes it great pairing for all sorts of drinks, so it goes a step higher in the B tier. Next are mangoes. I absolutely love mangoes and mango juice. Very sweet, but not overpowering, and a fruit that you can share with almost anyone. S tier for mangoes today. Next are nectarines, a very underrated fruit in my opinion. They taste really good and should be eaten more often. B tier for these ones. Next are oranges, an elite fruit, one that we all know and love. Oranges are truly amazing. A case to be made for the best kind of juice as well. Oranges simply are one of the best. S tier for them. Next are papayas. I don't know what it is about this fruit, but I simply can't eat them. The taste, the texture, the smell, I just can't do it. So it's an F tier for papayas. Next up is the peach, a very simple, elegant, tasty fruit. It doesn't do enough to wow me, but it does enough to keep me coming back for more. Easy A tier ranking. Next are pears, basically a discount version of apples. They're too soft for me, but the taste is alright, so it can get a B tier ranking. Next are pineapples, one of my favorite fruits out there. They taste so good, especially when they're just ripe enough, and they're one of the coolest looking fruits out there as well. So an S tier for pineapple. Next are plums, not a fruit that I have often or think about often, but the faint memories I do have tell me they're decent at best. C tier ranking for the plum. Next are pomegranates, very tasty, very fun to eat, and apparently very good for your health as well. An all around good experience, they can go into the A tier. Next are raspberries, my personal favorite fruit of them all. I love raspberries wholeheartedly. From the taste to the texture to the color to its ability to work in either food or drink, it truly is a versatile fruit that I wish was less expensive so I could have more of it. The most deserving S tier of all. Next are strawberries, one of my favorite fruits growing up. Strawberries taste awesome, smell awesome, and are a good time. Apart from the annoying leaves on top. Easy A tier for these guys. Next are tangerines, another one of those fruits that doesn't stick in my mind much. They are good to eat if you have some laying around, but not worth going out of your way to get. A decent taste gets them into the C tier today. Next is watermelon. For a fruit that is almost entirely made up of water, watermelon does a lot with the little fruit taste it has. Super nice to eat on a hot summer day or after a long day of soccer practice. You can't go wrong with watermelon. Easy A tier ranking. Next is honeydew, just a more boring version of the cantaloupe. I'll only really eat it when it comes on a fruit platter. It's nothing special, so it's a C tier for honeydew. Next are raisins. I used to love them as a kid, but over time they just get boring and stale, and the texture never really makes them any better. An unfortunate D tier ranking for raisins. And last but not least, sour cherries. As with most of the other sour or bitter fruits on here, they just aren't great. Biting into a fruit should make your tongue happy, not cringe at the bitter taste. They're not the worst though, so they can also go into the C tier. And there you have it, that is the ultimate fruit tier list. I will definitely have to revisit this tier list to rank all the ones I haven't tried yet, so stay tuned for that video sometime in the future. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you next time.